Hi everybody, I'm Erica, and on behalf of the third year fellows, this is my entry into Dr. Dewan's physiology trivia challenge this week, which is to create a creative mnemonic to remember the West Zones. I have no creative talents other than mixology, so I have created a cocktail to represent each one of the three West Zones. From your right to left here we have West Zone number 1, West Zone number 2, and West Zone number 3, which we will go through in detail in just a minute here. As you guys probably know, the West Zones are all about the relationship of the pulmonary alveolar pressure to the pulmonary arterial pressure to the pulmonary venous pressure, and depending on which is the greatest contributor depends on which West Zone we're in throughout the lung. So to start, we're going to look at the West Zone 1. In West Zone 1, the pulmonary alveolar pressure is the highest. This is the Alvear medium dry sherry, Alvear being a sherry maker from Spain, and medium dry being one of their good mixing options. We have 2.5 ounces of Alvear sherry contributing to the West Zone number 1. Following the Alvear pressure, we have the pulmonary Aperol pressure, which is a strong showing, but not as strong of a showing as the Alvear pressure in the West Zone number 1. So we have 3/4 of an ounce of Aperol within the West Zone number 1. And finally, we have this particular cocktail shrub in the West Zone number 1. Now, what is a cocktail shrub? You may be asking yourself. A cocktail shrub is any combination of flavors. In the West Zone number 1 here, we have the persimmon, oolong tea, and ginger shrub, and those are macerated with sugar and in vinegar. And so here we have 1/4 ounce of the persimmon, oolong tea, and ginger shrub in the West Zone 1 because your vinegar pressure shouldn't be very high in the West Zone 1. Now finally, you may be looking at this cocktail and thinking, this cocktail isn't exactly full. How would I serve this to someone and feel good about myself? Well, the West Zone number 1 doesn't exist under normal conditions. It happens only when the pulmonary alveolar pressure is abnormally high or when the pulmonary arterial pressure is abnormally low. One of the conditions under which this can occur is during positive pressure ventilation when we introduce excess air into the lung. So to finish off the West Zone 1, we're going to aerate it. 1 or 2 ounces of sparkling wine to finish off the West Zone number 1. Add a garnish with an orange peel. You can use a channel knife to make a nice long orange twist. And now you have a cocktail that's ready to serve. Moving on, we're going to go to the West Zone number 2, which is in the coupe glass here in the middle. We have a different relationship between the pulmonary alveolar pressure and the pulmonary Aperol pressure in the West Zone number 2. So, in the West Zone number 2, the major contributor is the pulmonary Aperol pressure. So we have a full ounce of Aperol in the West Zone number 2, just a 1/2 ounce of the Alvear medium dry sherry, and 1/4 ounce of a slightly different vinegar shrub, the strawberry jalapeño hibiscus. We also added 3/4 of an ounce of tequila. The tequila doesn't really represent anything other than how I feel after a day of studying respiratory physiology. Shaken and poured into a coupe glass. There's no garnish on the West Zone number 2. I'm going to move these to the side. And finally, we have the West Zone number 3. So the West Zone number 3 is a little bit different in that we have a more significant contribution from a vein in the West Zone number 3. In particular, a vein Williams. The pulmonary Aperol pressure is still the highest in the West Zone number 3, so we have a full ounce of Aperol, 3/4 of an ounce of Evan Williams, 1/2 ounce of Alvear sherry, and because all of those ingredients are pretty sweet, we added a little bit of bitters. These are sorghum bitters from a distillery in Louisville, but if you don't have those on hand, orange bitters will work quite nicely as well. Shaken, poured into a rocks glass with a large ice cube, and once again, we're going to garnish with an orange peel. This one is a little bit different. Instead of along the side of the glass, we're going to give this a little twist to express the oils and put it right in the glass. So there you have it, folks. The West Zone number 1, the West Zone number 2, and the West Zone number 3. I'm Erica, and this is my mnemonic for the West Zone's entry into the physiology challenge for Dr. Dewan's trivia. And I would like to end by just reminding you that if you're really struggling, the best evidence says that you should prone, so bottoms up.